Hi, I'm Gillian Flynn. I'm the publisher of Gillian Flynn Books, an imprint under Zando.
I'm Araminta Hall, and I'm an author, and my latest book is One of the Good Guys.
When I read this book, I just knew I wanted to publish it so badly. First of all, I've read all your books. The second I saw your name, I was like, oh my gosh, I know I'm in good hands. This is gonna be really interesting.
It's been completely thrilling for me to be published by you because, Gone Girl, well, all your books, obviously, but Gone Girl is one of those books that I can literally remember where I was when I read it. Those types of books are so satisfying to write and read.
Yes.
Because I love the idea of giving people a thrill or a shock with my writing, because I love that as a reader.
It's definitely going to be one of those books where people who are reading with their friends or spouses are going to go, have you gotten to the part yet? What I don't want to do is ruin any of the surprises, so I always like to ask the author to say what the book is about.
The book is actually about a man called Cole, who has relocated to the south coast of England after his marriage has fallen apart, and he's really nursing a broken heart, and he just cannot understand what's gone wrong because he is such a good guy. He meets a woman called Lenny, and they strike up this sort of friendship that might become a burgeoning romance. Meanwhile, there are two young women who are doing a coast-to-coast charity walk to protest male violence against women. They're getting closer and closer to where Cole and Lenny live, and when they reach where they are, they completely disappear. They sort of vanish into thin air.
It's just, to me, is like the definition of a great book club book, because it's so entertaining and such a page turner and such a fun thriller, but at the same time, you have all these different great themes to work with on top of your gorgeous writing. There's a question of what happened to these two women. Also, there's a question of what kind of man is Cole really? You know, he does the cooking and he tends to the house and is the one who is kind of banging the drum to have a baby, right? A woman doing those roles would just say, like, obviously this is my half of the deal, like the breadwinner, and then I am doing this. But he has this extra sort of layer of kind of righteous wonderment about himself and what a good guy he is.
You know, the bar to be a good man is quite low. You really do just have to do the washing up and say you want a child or something, and it's like, whereas to be a good woman, we still have to rise to these huge, impossible standards. I think men are given a much more easy ride when it comes to the expectation. Cole doesn't realize that he's massively bought into this huge societal thing. He just thinks he's so great because he is going to do something that all women really throughout history have just done. If we're going to become more equal and if we're going to share roles, there's going to have to be a reimagining of how we think about that. We've all got to reassess who we are in these roles.
I get asked a lot, sort of like, but, so how do you feel being away from your kids or working, I'm like, would you really ask a man that? Would you really ask a man, like, does he feel so guilty for working long hours? Like, you just wouldn't. What was it that kind of first germinated the idea of having a main character who was one of the good guys? My
life experiences of being a woman is quite fractured because, when I was young, I was in a world where it was still completely acceptable for men to touch you, comment on what you looked like, the tabloids. In Britain, the tabloids were insane. I grew up in that time, and then there came the sort of, we called it lad culture, when women were meant to become men. It was like, drink beer, go to the football, which is, very much what you wrote about in Gone Girl, the cool girl thing. And then we had Me Too, of course. There was a point where we thought, things are going to change now. And actually, things did change legally and politically, but they haven't changed on a day-to-day basis for any of us. It was thinking about all those things, really, that led me to thinking, what if I wrote about a man who appears and feels within himself incredibly evolved, but actually hasn't yet gone deep enough and really questioned what it means to be a good guy, actually.
That's what makes this so unnerving. I was completely unnerved for a large first portion of this book. You and I both have the genre of kind of, psychological thriller, I guess for lack of a better word. And I think right now that the genre of mystery and psychological thriller is doing some of the most interesting writing around. Societal issues are getting debated and getting discussed, and I love that about it.
Yeah, I love sitting in that genre. It's a space where you almost have to have a theme, you almost have to be political to make the book work, because there are really high stakes in thrillers and crime novels. You need more than a good plot. You need to know what you're saying as well. I think you can really feel that in books that have a point to make.
Yours and mine, I think both are sort of, if you want to read it as a thriller and just access it that way and have, enjoy yourself, amazing, that's great.
Totally.
But there's also all sorts of themes underneath that are pinned to it that you can access too and talk about.
Completely. I think people will be shocked and people will be challenged by what I've written, but I also think that people will think about it and then feel that it's not that weird or outlandish.
I love being a publisher, and I love having gotten to publish your book in particular, because one of the wonderful things this book does is really define where we are in gender relationships post Me Too. You're so good at pinpointing and giving real examples of these broader things that we think about. It's one of those books I'm jealous that people get to read it again for the first time,
The way we talk about things and the way we depict things has got to shift, because that's always what's informed how we live our lives.
What I had been feeling and that unease I'd been feeling, this defines it really beautifully. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that.